often would you say that you trade? How long do you spend analysing the markets at your computer?
I mean, in terms of the word trade, in terms of executing trades, I probably do on average 3 or 4 trades a week, I would say, something like that. I mean, it varies, there's weeks when you do no trades at all. There's weeks when you do 10, but I would say on average probably 3, 4 trades a week. And that involves buying a new position, maybe, an entirely new stock, maybe. But it's usually adding to a position. I tend to add to winners. So when I buy something and it sort of comes up to like a horizontal price level and it breaks out, I'll then add to it if it still stacks up from a valuation and sort of how it fits with my portfolio sort of point of view. But then the other one is top slicing. I'm often chopping a bit off because it's done well and I want to just reduce my risk to it. And then in terms of actual what I do looking at the markets, it's like my normal day is like, so this would be sort of like Monday to Thursday, because on a Friday I do nothing. Friday is like a day of rest, and I'm often, I like being in the pub. And so like Monday to Thursday, I sort of wake at about 8 o'clock. I used to wake a little bit earlier, but I finally go to bed late and I find I was just so tired, and I'd be like trying to read the RNSs and I'd like falling asleep. So I tend to lie in bed at 8 o'clock in the morning, my little 7-inch tablet, and I'm reading the RNS news items, and I'm looking for ones that I have shares in, and I'm looking for ones that I'm interested in, and just seeing what's going on with the RNSs. And I tend to read those and I tweet out about what I think of them. Sometimes, like with SafeStyle, it's like, oh my God, I've got a profit warning. So you're straight in, and I sold those probably 2 minutes past 8 as quick as I could. I just got out of them. So I'm doing that, and I'll probably do that for like, I don't know, hour and a half, whatever. I might have a little snooze for half an hour or something. Then I'll get up, and I get myself ready. And it can take me forever getting ready. Using the loo and the bathroom stuff can be a nightmare. But I'm on Twitter a lot using my phone, and I'm sort of like, I use the advfn.com app, which is a free app which I have on my phone, and that has all my shares on it, and like, blue, red, green, and I tend to look at that, a few times during the day. So I probably look at it more than I need to. I mean, to be honest, I probably don't ever need to look at it during the day, intraday, because I'm just not an intraday trader. But just through habit and interest, you're sort of like, oh, I must have a look. And so I do that. So during the day I'm sort of looking at that, and then probably around, almost definitely at lunchtime, I'll be like having a sandwich or something, and I'll be reading Investors Chronicle, and I'll probably spend an hour and a half looking at Investors Chronicle, and again, looking through the company and thinking, well, whatever. And then I sort of then have like most of the afternoon off, really, and I love, particularly this time of year, I'll be out in my garden, digging away and trying to get my strawberries sorted and things like that. And then probably around, it's earlier in the winter, but in the summer it's probably sort of like 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever. I'll then get and see how my stocks have done for the day. I'll look at my accounts, see what the value of my accounts is, and I basically work out whether I've made or lost money that day. A lot of people say, oh, you don't need to look at it every day, and you should do it every week, or you should do it every month, or whatever. And I think there's a lot of sense to that. There is danger in looking too often, but I'm sort of got this routine. That's what I do, and I'm very superstitious. It's like, if I have a system that works, however daft it may seem, I keep doing it. So it's like, I always get Investor Chronicle. I think if I lost Investor Chronicle, it would just, my whole system would just collapse. So at the end of the day, so around say 5, 6 o'clock, I'll do that. Then I'll be on Twitter for probably an hour and a half or something. Then in the evening, probably won't do a lot until about 9:30, something like that. At 9:30, on goes my PC, and I use ShareScope software. So I beam up ShareScope. I then update ShareScope at 10 o'clock, because you can't do the daily update for American stuff until 10 o'clock. Then the first thing I'm looking at is what the indexes have done. What have the S&P, the Dow, the NASDAQ, the FTSE 100, the FTSE 250, what have they done during the day? What are the charts telling me? And quite often I will tweet out what I think those indexes are saying. And sometimes on the website, I'll actually do what I call my technical view, where I do like a summary of each one, you know, with support levels and resistance and stuff. Because I find, you know, a lot of people say, oh yeah, well, you know, if you do stocks, it's irrelevant what the market's doing. I don't think that's true. I think it might be true on some really small, risky blue sky kind of mining shares and stuff. They might have nothing to do with the market. But I think as you go up the market capitalization size-wise, the market does have more effect on the shares. And I want to be hedging. You know, it's like if I think a market collapse is coming, I want to have a short on, so I'm ready to profit from any drops to offset losses on my portfolio. And then once I've looked at the indexes, I'm then looking at my individual stock charts. So what I'm looking for is for what we were saying earlier about breakouts and stuff. I'm looking for, I love triangle patterns. So if you get a sort of triangle, it's got like I call them flat top triangles. So you've got like the price has got like a level, say it bangs up against £2.75 and several times it's been hitting 2.75 and the price is sort of like squeezing up. So you've got this triangle and then they pop out the top. So I'm looking for these triangles and I'm like watching it, and as soon as I've seen it popped out, first thing next day I buy that share. So I'm buying the breakout. And as I say, I'm looking for chances to top slice. And I'm looking at the value. One of the great things about ShareScope is that by, I don't know what it is, a space key or something, one of the keys, you can just flick between different screens. So you can go from your chart views to a fundamental view, which gives you like analyst forecasts and dividend forecasts, EPS forecasts, that kind of stuff. So I'm working out PE ratios and things and thinking, is this still good value? You know, is this on a PE sort of like 10, 11, 12, 13, you know, nice low and whatever? Or has it now got to a PE of 25 and it's starting to look toppy, you know, and that's what I'm sort of monitoring.
How many positions do you hold at any one time? Did you say about 40?
The WD-40 has 40 positions in it. I'm sometimes a bit naughty and it sneaks up to 41, 42, you know. Sadly, it rarely goes below 40. But I've also got a thing called my income portfolio, which is just 12 stocks, and they are 12 big, mainly FTSE 100, boring as hell, dividend generators. So it's things like Glaxo, HSBC, AstraZeneca, KCOM I've got in there, IGG, you know, IG Index. So I've just got these big, boring companies, and the thing with them is they're ones, you just buy them, tuck them away and just do nothing to it. I very, very rarely do anything to that portfolio. And all I'm looking for on that portfolio is a sort of 7% return a year. That's all I'm looking for. And a lot of that comes from dividends. The dividend yield is about 5% for the portfolio.
So what's the average amount of time that you hold a position for, and what's the longest time that you've held a position for?
Well, we sort of covered it a bit earlier, but I think really the sort of average is probably 3 years, I would think, on average, you know. And in the income portfolio, God, it's like forever, you know, they really could be, you know, something like Glaxo. I mean, that's, unless there's like a really big bulls up, it's going to keep on generating a nice, steady, rising dividend for years and years to come. It's very likely, you know.
How do you go about determining your position size?
Right, I've got pretty much rules for that. So, and it's sort of a scale to risk. So basically something that's big and boring in the FTSE 100 like Shell, RDSB, you know, I've probably got 5-6% of my portfolio in it. So it's a big position. Something like Axis Technologies, that one we discussed earlier with the wood, you know, because it's really speculative, because it's really high risk, it's less than 1%. Something that's in the AIM market, but it's a proper company with a dividend, whatever, I'd probably go sort of like 3%, something like that. And I'd let it grow to maybe 4 or 5%, then I'd be chopping it. I've got a problem with Empresaria, EMR. I noticed today it's up another flipping 4%, and it's just getting massive. I mean, that's probably up getting near 6% of my portfolio where it's just done so well. but I'm going to have to cut it again. I've already cut it a couple of times. I'm going to have to cut it again because it's just getting too big. And the trouble is, you know, Empresaria has done fantastic in the last 2 or 3 years, but it did do really bad. You know, 5 or 6 years ago, they had trouble in Germany and they did really bad. So, you know, things could go bad again. So I mustn't get greedy.